Hi, welcome to the reading of chapters 18 through 24 in A Good Kind of Trouble by Elisa Moore Ramey. The first chapter's title is Nice, and it's on page 97. And this week we're going to talk about what is the significance of how an author makes the decision to give a title for a chapter its name. And so we're going to talk about Nice to begin with. It's chapter 18. And in this story, Shayla is grappling with what it means to be a nice person and a good friend, and what it means to be nice to your friends. She is having a little bit of a struggle with that in this chapter. So here we go. Isabella and I hide from the sun beneath the big magnolia tree. I unscrew the top of my water bottle from my backpack and take a long drink. Mama says if I drink plenty of water, it will help clear up my skin. So far it hasn't made any difference, except I do have to pee a lot more. And I miss soda. Why is it so hot? I click the bottle against my teeth. So she kind of does this. What I want to ask is why Julia is being weird and not hanging out with us at break like she's supposed to. I know, Isabella puts her hair high above her head to cool off her neck. She looks like a palm tree. Ugh, my hair is such a mess when it's hot like this. It's a big frizz ball. I do not see a bit of frizz anywhere on Isabella's head. She says her hair is curly, but it's totally not. What it is wavy. My hair is curly and kinky and sort of wild. Does Jace like wild or wavy hair? I wrap my hair in a tight knot bun. Stop complaining, I say. You have like perfect hair. Isabella lets her massive waves plop back down and she frowns at me. Ay, Dios mío. What is the matter with you? You sound just like your mom, I say. I don't hear Isabella speak Spanish that much, usually when she's frustrated. I sound like me, Isabella says, but then her voice softens. Seriously, Shay, what's wrong with you? Nothing, I say. Sorry, I kicked the dirt, and it's so rock hard, not even a tiny bit of dust comes up. I want to tell her about the makeup and how I'm starting to worry that maybe Jace won't ever even smile at me again. But I want Julia to be here too, like she's supposed to be. That's the problem with a three-way friendship. When one of us is missing, it's hard to talk about anything important. But if I say that to Isabella, it would feel a whole lot like talking about Julia behind her back. And any friendship manual you check will tell you friends don't do that. I want Jace to like me, I finally say, since Julia already knows that. It doesn't seem wrong to say it to Isabella. Isabella says, my mom says women have to speak up for what they want. Isabella's face gets weird after she says that, like sad weird. Isabella doesn't talk a lot about her parents, but I'm pretty sure her mom is the one who wanted to get the divorce. Yeah, right. I'll just walk right up to Jace and say, hey, like me. I could command you to talk to him, Isabella says, smiling now, and she rubs her hands together. 1, I'll show her my uncrossed fingers. I'm not playing. And 2, that would be totally uncool. I screw the top back on my water bottle and I wipe the sweat from my forehead. It's hot even in the shade. I can't help thinking it wouldn't be so awful if someone commanded Jace to talk to me. Yeah, Isabella says and rolls her eyes. My mom wouldn't say that about a boy anyway. She says I can't go out with anybody until I'm 16. And once I do go on a date, she's going to make my tios come over and have a talk with him. She grimaces. Scare him away is what she means. That's awful. Isabella's mom likes to remind all three of us to be strong, independent women. But having all your uncles come over and scare a guy, not even Mama would do something that mean. Right? Isabella picks up a seed pod and starts eyeing it. I know she's thinking about a project she could use it in. Maybe if she didn't hate my dad so much, she wouldn't care. I don't know what to say to that. Sometimes I feel like bad that my parents get along so well when Isabella's parents can't even be in the same room together. When she has birthday parties, her dad isn't allowed to come. I would hate that. Yeah, is all I can think to say. And then neither of us talks for a minute. I don't really care, Isabella says after a while. I mean, about the boy thing. It's not like I even like anybody like that. I'm starting to wish I didn't, I say, sighing. And Isabella laughs at that. Seriously, it'd be easier if it didn't even matter that Jace doesn't think I'm cute. What are you talking about? Isabella asks, sounding shocked. You are cute. Not as cute as you, I think. Which isn't all that cool to think. But then I get an idea. Hey, you know your green top? The one with the glittery peace symbol? Isabella nods slowly. Of course she knows. It's her favorite. It's her absolute favorite. I smile really big because I know I'm about to ask a huge favor. Can I borrow it? Isabella's face looks like she just dusted it with blush. She probably wants to say no. I shouldn't be asking her to borrow it. Not her favorite one. But it's the same color as Jace's eyes. And she looks amazing in it, so maybe I could look good in it too. Come on, say yes, I beg. Isabella twists her hands into a knot, but I know she's going to say yes. She just can't help herself. Okay, she says, and she smiles, but her eyes don't look happy. It's rotten of me to ask her to borrow it. But she looks fantastic now, so she doesn't need it like I need it. You're the best. I'll come over after school and get it, okay? Isabella nods, and I give her a hug. And then the bell rings. I gotta go, she says. I watch her run off, and I wish that Julia was here to give me a roller whip, or to tell me I'm not a bad friend for asking Isabella for her favorite top. On my way to English, someone grabs my shoulder, and at first I think it's a yard duty teacher ready to tell me to slow down. But when I turn around, it's Tyler. What's up? I ask him, not working all that hard to hide my irritation. It's not that Tyler is bad, but he's annoying. And since I already have to put up with him in shop, I really don't need him stalking me outside of class. Hey, Shayla, he says, and shows all his tiny teeth. You don't sit at the basketball courts, huh? Since obviously he knows I don't, it doesn't seem like a real question. I sit with my friends at the lunch table. Oh, cool, he says. Maybe we could eat lunch together one day. As if. Yeah, sure, Tyler. He nods happily, as if I just said we were going to go to prom together or something. That boy seriously needs to chill. See you in class later, he says, and he runs off. Yolanda is always nice to Tyler, and I don't know how he doesn't bug her. She never even seems to mind when Tyler butts into our conversations in shop. That's being too nice. I think about how asking Isabella for her top really wasn't nice, especially since I know Isabella has such a hard time saying no. But Hannah tells me nice doesn't get you anywhere in this world. All Yolanda is getting out of being nice to Tyler is a big pest. Julia asks, looking at me suspiciously. She knows I like to hoard my chips. Can't a friend be generous, I ask, smiling with all of my teeth. I hate that Julia didn't hang with us at break, and I hate that Isabella and I didn't talk about it. But we can't talk about Julia behind her back, because best friends just don't do that. And Julia is still one of my best friends. I just hope I'm still one of hers. I bet Isabella is hoping the same thing. She also is probably hoping that I don't ruin her top. I seriously don't know why Tyler keeps hanging around. You'd think that he could take a hint. All right, so in this chapter, I hope that you can see what it means to be nice or to be too nice. In this instance, I'm thinking Isabella is being too nice to Shay, and that Yolanda is probably just being normally nice to Tyler. The one who is really not being nice in this chapter is Shayla. And so that's why the author titled this chapter Nice, because she's examining, all the characters' levels of being nice. All right, now we're going to move on to the next chapter, which is called Book Club. Book Club is on page 105. We're on the chapter called Book Club. The reason this chapter is titled Book Club is because Shayla's mom simply has a book club at her house where she invites all of her friends. Now, on a personal note, I always had a book club at my house too when my kids were around the age of Shayla, like middle school, high school. And I would have all my friends come over and we would read books and talk. It's kind of like what adult people like myself do to have a social life. And that's what Shayla's mom is doing. And she's frantically cleaning her house to get ready for her friends to come over. And in this case, all of Shayla's mom's friends are black. And they have a crew of friends all reading books together. And they really enjoy grilling Shayla when they see her. So let's begin on 105. When I ask Mama if we can drive by Isabella's to pick up something, she gets exasperated with me. I have book club tonight, she says. I shudder. Nothing gets Mama more hyped up than hosting book club. The guest bathroom has to be perfect, and Hannah and I are forced to be Mama's prep cooks with lots of dicing and measuring and cleaning up after. You'd think Toni Morrison and Oprah were coming over when really it's just Mama's best friends. At least she agrees to swing by Isabella's on the way to the market. I tell her Isabella has something I need for school, which really isn't lying. Hannah is at Regina's house, so I'm stuck helping Mama all by myself. She's a terror. I don't know why anyone would care if the butternut squash cubes are exactly the same size. When the book club ladies arrive, Daddy hides in his office, and I try to escape into my room, but Mama catches me and tells me I have to come out and say hello. I like Mama's friends, but they always put me on the spot. How are your grades, Shayla? Miss Teresa asks. You know Shayla can't live with anything less than an A, Mama says with a proud smile in her voice. That's the way to do it, Shayla. You need those A's when you're ready to apply to college. Miss Coretta has been talking to me about college since I was 5 years old. She really wants me to go to an HBCU. That is a historically black college or university. And I have to keep reminding her that I'm not even in high school yet. You sure are tall, Shayla, Miss D says. She says this every time she sees me, and just like every other time, I have no clue what to say back. Yes, ma'am, I say. Do you have any black teachers this year? Dr. Walters asked. Everyone in Mama's book club is black. And they're always asking me stuff like this, even though I know it's not my fault. All the times I've had to say, no, I don't have a black teacher. It still makes me feel guilty. So I'm glad this time I can say yes. My PE teacher is black. She's my track coach too. Coach West is really nice and totally beautiful. Dr. Walter says, figures it would be a gym teacher. But she's great, I say. Mama gives Dr. Walters the side eye. Don't start, Mary. There's nothing wrong with teaching children about fitness and health. No, indeed, a few of the other women murmur. Track, Miss D says. You're on the track team, Shayla? Well, go on, girl, Miss Anita says. I ran track back in my day. Don't be too fast now, or the boys won't be able to catch you. She laughs and slaps her thigh. Now, Anita, don't be filling Shayla's head with your foolishness, Mama says. Go on to your homework, sugar, she tells me. And she sure doesn't need to ask me twice. When I get to my room, I pull Isabella's top out of my backpack. I hold it up so I can check myself out in the mirror. The green looks good against my brown skin. But will it be good enough for Jace to notice me? Wearing Isabella's top just might be the thing that finally makes Jace see me as the girl of his dreams instead of the girl with the 5 head. So, you can see this book club is very interested. It's an all black woman's book club. And they love to ask Shayla questions about whether or not she has black teachers and what's going on with her grades. They really want her to excel and to be somebody who is successful. The next chapter we're going to read is chapter 20, and it's called Green Tops and Green Monsters. And this is the chapter about Isabella wearing that shirt into school to try to get Jace's attention. And when we say green monsters, what we mean is we call the green-eyed monster is somebody who's feeling very jealous. It's a term for being super jealous. So the author titled this Green Tops, because that's the color of Shayla's top, and Green Monsters, because in this chapter, you're going to see just how jealous Shayla is of Isabella. Page 109. When Jace walks into class, he looks over and smiles. And I smile back, really big. And then I force myself to look away, like I don't even care. All during class, I swear, I can feel Jace's eyes burning into my back. When the bell rings for the second period, I slowly get my things together so that he has time to catch me. Hey, Shayla, Jace says. Oh, hey, Jace, I say, sounding all casual, as if I talk to boys all the time. I like that top. Thanks. I can hardly breathe. Doesn't your girl Isabella have one like it? I don't think so. Why is he talking about Isabella? Yeah, well, whatever. See ya. I let out a breath. I focus on the positive. He thought I looked good. And that's what he said, right? And he knows my name. And he knows who my friends are, which means he pays attention to me. My top looks good on you, she says. I don't know why, but it bugs me that she calls it her top, even though it is. For today, it's supposed to be mine. Thanks, I say, but I know that I don't sound grateful. I can't believe you lent it to her, Julia says. She's decided to hang out with us again at break. I almost wish she hadn't, if she's going to say stuff like that. You really asked to borrow her favorite? She asks me. I glance at Isabella. She's leaning back on her elbows and she's staring up at the sky. She didn't mind, I quickly said. She could have said no. That's not really true, since Isabella basically never says no. It's no big deal, Isabella says, straightening back up. So did he say anything? Did you say anything? Yeah, he said something, I admit. He said I looked good today. Isabella smiles. Wow. You don't have to sound like that's so hard to believe, I say. Isabella's eyes get wide. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I think it's great. Progress, Julia says, and shoots the trash from her snack into a trash can. Sounds cool. What else did he say? Not much, I say, and I shove a handful of cheesy goldfish into my mouth. Isabella gives me a big smile, and I feel like one of the little fish is struggling to swim its way back up my throat. When Isabella runs off to class, Julia says, you know, she didn't have to lend you her top. I know, so be nice. I suck my teeth at that. Julia seems like the last person who should be talking about being nice. What if Isabella only lent me her top because she knew it would make Jace think of her? Oh my goodness. Can you see how jealous Shayla is right now in this chapter? And with one of her best friends too. A best friend who's so nice, she lent her absolutely favorite top. Shayla is definitely struggling with what we call in English the green monster. All right, the green-eyed monster. Now we're on to chapter 21, which is called Clearing Hurdles. Okay. It's on page 112. Clearing hurdles means a little bit more than just literally jumping over the hurdles. The hurdle in this chapter that Shayla has to deal with is the fact that she doesn't have any black friends, and that many of the kids on the track team are black, and she really is starting to want to become friends with them. But her hands start getting itchy, and she's nervous, and she's having a hard time getting over the hurdle of feeling like she belongs with the other black kids on the team. At our next track practice, after we're all stretched out, Coast West tells us what specific events she wants us to train for. When she gets to me, her smile gets really big. The 400, she says, and hurdles. She holds her hand up for a high five. I can't leave her hanging, but seriously? Hurdles? Hurdles take coordination. Why can't I do the 1600 meters? That's like what I do every week. I can manage that. I mean, not fast or anything, but I can do it. I check to see if Angie looks worried. The hurdles is her race. And I just bet she won't want me running in the lane next to her, bumping into her, kicking one of her hurdles over. As far as I can tell, she isn't thinking about me at all. Coach West blows her whistle, and we all start practicing. I tried jumping over a few hurdles, but it feels really awkward. Angie, Coach West shouts, help Shayla for a bit. She's struggling with her timing. I can't believe Coach West called me out like that, and I can't believe she asked Angie to help. Angie is with the other girls on the relay team, Carmetta, Natalie, and Maya. Our track team isn't all black, not even close, but the girls' relay team is, and they all exchange glances when Coach West asks Angie to help me. Angie shrugs, and Natalie laughs. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. It didn't seem nice. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it doesn't seem like any of the relay girls have any interest in hanging out with me. Hannah made that comment about people saying that I think I'm too good for them. But as bad as I am at hurdles, that sure can't be what's keeping us from being friends. Angie jogs over and asks me to do a few hurdles so she can see how I'm doing. After a couple of minutes, she stops me. "You keep jumping off a different leg," she says. "I do?" I look down at my legs accusingly. "Does that matter?" Yeah," she says. "You should jump with your lead leg, your strongest leg. What hand are you?" "Hand? Huh?" "What hand do you write with?" She holds up both of her hands like perhaps I'm an alien from another planet and I don't know the meaning of the word hand. "Oh, sorry, I am left-handed." I think I get it. "So I'm left-legged?" Probably. Let me see something." She gets behind me and then she pushes me. I stumble forward and fall. "What are you doing?" People say whatever foot you use to catch yourself, if you get pushed, that's the leg you should use as your lead leg. It's your power leg. I look down. I definitely caught myself with my left leg. "Thanks," I say, even though I don't appreciate being pushed. "Sure," Angie says with a toss of her braids. I try jumping over a few hurdle agains, this time making sure I lead with my left leg, and it actually feels better. Bernard comes over with a small ball in his hand. A shot. Shot putting, I found out, has nothing to do with guns. A shot looks like a dark softball, and just like a softball, shots aren't soft at all. And they are really heavy. So shot putters have to throw the shot as far as they can. "Think fast," Bernard says, and pretends to throw the shot at me. I flinch. Even though he didn't actually throw it at me, just thinking about that thing flying into my belly gives me a stomach ache. "Bernard," Coach West yells. He gets all scowl-faced. "What?" "Do I need to remind you again that the shot isn't a toy?" "No." He sounds upset. "Go back to the safe zone with the shot if you're still practicing." Coach West is really serious about her safety rules. "I'm done," Bernard says. "Well then, put the shot away." Bernard's grip on the shot tightens, and I'm not sure what he's going to do. "You should put that away," I say. He turns around fast and he glares at me. "You don't need to tell me what I have to do." "Sorry," I say, my mouth feeling like it's packed with marbles. I shuffle my feet and I look at the ground, and I hope that he leaves me alone. "People always on me," he says. I don't look up. "Bernard!" Coach West shouts. I want to tell her not to make him mad. Not when he has that heavy shot in his hand, but he just shuffles over to the equipment locker. Soon it's time to stack up the hurdles and put them off to the side of the track, and all the relay girls are laughing and joking with each other. Carmetta starts singing a Rihanna song. She has a really pretty voice, and Angie, Maya, and Natalie start singing along. It's one of my favorite songs. I bet I could sing it better than Natalie. She's way off key. After practice, we all go out to the front of the school and wait for our rides. Whoever picks up Bernard is always there waiting, so he's one of the first people to leave. Maybe it's his mom. I mean, even bullies have mothers. Groups of kids are scattered all over the grass. I haven't made any friends with anyone on the team, so I wait alone. Natalie gets picked up, then Maya. A van pulls up and a whole bunch of kids pile in. Pretty soon, there's just a few of us waiting. I tell my feet to walk over to where Angie and Carmetta are sitting. It's just the two of them, so I try to convince myself that it's not too scary. But my feet don't listen, and my hands start itching, and I feel like I'm trapped in cement. Finally, I convince my feet to get moving, and I walk over. But that's right when Angie and Carmetta's ride get there, and they both get up and jump in to the car. I stare down at my feet. They have totally let me down. All right. So, I'm going to fill in over here for the green tops and green monsters is all about Shayla feeling jealous. And clearing hurdles, this chapter is all about Shayla trying to fit in with her black teammates. I think there's 2 M's in teammates. Maybe not. I'll have to look that up. All right. Next chapter, 22. Your own. That night, I'm standing in the kitchen, keeping an eye on the pork chops so they don't burn. Mama, do you think there's something wrong with me? I start. Huh? She's sitting at the dinner table reading one of her textbooks. This year, Mama decided to go back to school to get her master's in English literature. Mama and I both like to read, but it's a mystery to me why anyone would choose more school if they don't have to. I mean, all your best friends are black, and so are Hannah's. I feel dumb talking about this. It's weird that none of my friends are. Mama closes her book and stretches her arms high above her head. My girls and I have known each other for a long time, Shayla. I guess you could say, we speak the same language. A black language? She shakes her head. No, sugar. Then she pauses. Well, maybe. I mean, not really. You understand? But there's something about those women, my sisters, that make me comfortable. You have to remember, back when I was in school, kids stuck with their own. That's what this means, your own. So Shayla's mom is explaining to her that back when she was in school, if you were black, you just hung out with black kids. If you were white, you just hung out with white kids. And that was like you hung out with your own, meaning someone who's in your own race. I wanted to read that part before I described the chapter because it seems a little bit strange to all of us about your own. We encourage diversity and we encourage everyone to form friendships with people who are different. And that's really what makes life interesting and exciting, in Mrs. Rosato's opinion. All right, so I'm back on page 119 and I am on this part right here where I said, things haven't changed. Things haven't changed, I sigh and flip the pork chops. Maybe there is something wrong with me. But I thought Isabella, Julia, and I spoke the same language. At least we used to. I didn't realize I was stabbing the pork chop until Mama comes over and takes the fork out of my hand. Those pork chops haven't done you wrong. Why don't you let them be? She gives me a sideways look. Shayla, there's nothing wrong with you and your friends. I don't want you to think that's what I mean. Julia is really into these other girls all of a sudden. She likes them better than the United Nations. I turn to face Mama because I want to make sure she tells me the truth. Do you think she likes them more than us because Isabella and I aren't Asian? Oh, Mama shakes her head like that couldn't be possible. But then she says, I can't speak for Julia, Shayla. But even if it's true that she likes those other girls because they have something in common with her that you don't, that doesn't mean she likes you and Isabella any less. And it doesn't take away the friendship you girls had. I can't help but Mama said had. Like maybe we don't have it anymore. Mama puts the chops on the cutting board so they can rest. And she checks the rice. Shayla, do you want to have black friends? I don't think they want to be friends with me. It doesn't sound right saying it out loud. It's like, since I don't sit at the right place at lunch, I'm different or something. Not one of the girls on the relay team seems interested in being my friend. Angie's nice to me, but she's nice to everybody. Mama gives my arm a little squeeze. Nothing wrong with being different. And right now, you're just becoming who you're going to be. You still have a lot of growing to do. Mama must know I'm about to interrupt because she holds up her hand to stop me. Trust me. You're going to change in all sorts of ways. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, Shayla, or with the friends you have. Just make sure you're open to all sorts of people. Now, I will tell you this. You may find as you get older that there's something comfortable, or I don't know, comforting in having friends who can relate to the things you might be going through. Little things like knowing what type of product to put on your hair, and big stuff like knowing how it feels when we hear about police hassling someone just because they're black. Or worse than hassling. That hurts. Those are things Julia and Isabella might not relate to, although I bet they have their own things. Mama chuckles, but not in this is so funny way, in sort of a sad way. That doesn't mean they aren't your friends, or that you should feel bad about those friendships. You hear me? I nod. It's a lot to process, and I think maybe part of what she's saying is I really need to get some black friends. But I'll tell you this too. I've met really wonderful women at school who I like a lot. We started running the stairs together on campus. And even though I haven't known her as long as my other friends, I think she and I speak the same language too. I don't know what this has to do with anything. But then Mama says, Janice isn't black. She's white. Hannah walks in then and throws her hand against her chest like she's having a heart attack. Daddy, come quick. Mama is starting to fraternize with the white folks. Mama swipes at her with a dish towel, and that makes Hannah laugh. And then I feel a little bit better. A wise man once said, okay, it was Michael Jackson. It don't matter if you're black or white, but obviously MJ didn't go to Emerson or have the police stop him for a busted taillight. Race shouldn't matter, but it does. For real. So, in this chapter, your own, it's a conversation, a convo between Shay and Mama about race. And at the end of this chapter, we learn that although we like to say race doesn't matter, in a lot of ways, race does matter. Now we're moving on to chapter 23, and it's called Black Panthers. Black Panthers are a group back in the 60s that used to do a lot of protesting against white supremacy and equal rights for black people. I'm beginning to think I was wrong to worry about the United Nations being in trouble. Julia has been around almost every break for the past few weeks. I try not to think about her missing break time with Isabella and me every once in a while, that it's not really a big deal. And of course, she's always around at lunch. Like today, it's just the three of us like normal, laughing and joking and being silly until Isabella asks about Halloween costumes. Bro, Julia says, sounding like a frog. Costumes are for babies. Isabella, Julia, and I always pick a costume to do together. One year we all dressed up as sandcastles and had glittery sand in our hair, and another uncomfortable place for days. Another time, Julia and Isabella were two parts of a table, and I was the gum stuck underneath them. You don't want to dress up, I ask? Julia gives a funky little snort, which is very unattractive, and it looks at me like I'm so yesterday. So I take that as a no. When I get home after school, I ask Hannah if it's cool to wear a costume in junior high, and she says I should if I want to, that is the important thing. She shows me a big afro wig and gold hoop earrings and a Black Panther t-shirt she's going to wear. Most people hear Black Panther and they think of the movie, but Hannah is quick to remind everyone the activists came first. Hannah's dressing up as Angela Davis. Hannah shows me pictures of other people who were in the Black Panthers. And when I see the black jackets and berets, I think I have a really good costume idea. I can dress up, but not look like I'm way over the top. And a beret will cover some of my forehead. Sold. I don't bother with Julia, but I convince Isabella she should dress up too. We decide to surprise each other with what we're wearing. I can't help but hope Isabella doesn't wear something that makes her look even more beautiful. Maybe she'll just dress up as a scary witch with a wart. On Halloween, I put on my daddy's black leather coat, which of course is huge on me. But that's okay. And then the black beret Mama got in Paris. She says she bought it even though no one was actually wearing them there because it made her feel French. She also tells me I'm better not lose it. But once I have the coat and the beret on and I check myself out in the mirror, it doesn't seem all that exciting. Then I get a great idea. The one thing about Halloween is I can get away with wearing makeup since it can be part of the costume. Hannah walks into the bathroom just as I'm putting on mascara. Shayla? I almost blind myself with the stick of mascara, and I guess I should have asked her before borrowing her makeup. Did you see somebody wearing makeup in those pictures I showed you? I wiped the black smear off my face. That was a long time ago. Probably they would wear it now. Hannah sighs out loud. You're supposed to be a protester. I know it's just Halloween, but can't you even take a second to think about how important protest is? How it's not about looking cute? I totally want to call Hannah out because she looks fantastic as Angela Davis, and I doubt she minds. But I'm smart enough not to say it. Hannah stands there for a couple of more seconds and then she walks away. I put on some green eyeshadow. On the way to school, Mama keeps giving me sideways looks and finally says, "What?" And she's probably thinking I shouldn't have the makeup on. "Just seeing you dressed that way," Mama says, "makes me." She shakes her head. "Seems like we keep protesting and nothing changes." My daddy got arrested for protesting when he was just a little older than you. And look at us today. Same stuff going on. This trial. Mama shakes her head again. I thought we'd be in a better place by now. I feel bad I'm wearing something that makes her sad. But when we pull up in front of Emerson before I get out of the car, Mama says in a big voice, "What do we want?" Even though she's short of shouting, she smiles. So I smile back. "Justice." "When do we want it?" "Now." I shout back at her, giggling. She gives me a goodbye kiss and tells me to have fun. "I will," I say, and climb out of the car. There's a bunch of people in costume, and that makes me feel less nervous about dressing up. But seeing so many people in costume make me wish the United Nations had come up with a costume idea together, like we used to. Jace isn't wearing a costume, and I worry that means he'll think I'm a big loser for dressing up. I push my beret down lower and I smile at him, hoping mascara is making my eyes look even bigger. I just need him to notice one time my forehead isn't as big as the moon. Today doesn't seem to be the day. Mr. Levy has his hair brushed back nice and neat, and he's wearing his lab coat. His costume is being normal. Hilarious. We're going to howl like banshees, he tells us in this excited way he gets sometimes. He passes around a bowl of nuts. Not the eating kind, the metal kind that sit at the end of a screw. And then he passes out balloons. The whole time, most everyone is already howling, and Mr. Levy doesn't stop us. He tells us each to put our nut in our balloons before we blow them up. Then we swirl our balloons around and they make weird squeaky noises. I'm not sure if that's what a banshee sounds like, but it's super loud. Bernard swings his balloon so wild he hits the boy sitting next to him, who acts like Bernard just punched him or something. I'm pretty sure a balloon wouldn't hurt that much, but Mr. Levy sends Bernard to the office anyway. I don't think Mr. Levy likes Bernard. Today's a minimum day, so each class is shorter, which means I get to meet up with my friends at break earlier than usual. But when I get to our spot, only Isabella is there. Her long hair is in 2 braids and she has a bright yellow flower pinned on one side. Her top is white and there's little off the shoulders. And then she has a bright skirt on that's full of flowers and birds. She looks amazing. "You look great," she tells me. "What are you dressed as?" "A protester from the 60s, the Black Panthers." Then I force myself to say, "You look awesome." Isabella spins around. It's from a painting. I really like the artist, Mia Roma Hernandez. She's Puerto Rican like me. Oh, cool, I say, even though I've never heard of this Mia person. I don't look stupid, Isabella says, fiddling with her braids. I can't believe that Isabella doesn't realize how fantastic she looks. No, I say, you definitely don't look stupid. Where do you think Julia is? Isabella asks. I'm pretty sure I know, but I don't say. Isabella shrugs. I guess she got held up in second period. Yeah, maybe, I say, or she wants to stand around and laugh at every dumb thing that Stacy says. I wonder if Julia will be sad when she sees that Isabella and I dressed up, especially since everyone in the costume gets a special pass to eat lunch on the front lawn. It's weird to think I probably won't see Julia at all today. When it's time for lunch, Isabella and I meet up out in the front instead of at the lunch tables. The front of the school is nice with a big hill of grass and trees and flowers and stuff. Normally it's off limits for lunch because there's no gate. And I guess they think kids would just wander off. A sculpture of a guy's head sits right in the middle of the grass, and when Isabella and I go over to look, I can see, of course, that it's Ralph Waldo Emerson. He looks pretty grim. Maybe I should have dressed up as him for Halloween. That would have been scarier. Coach West comes over while I'm reading the engraving on the plaque below the statue. It lets me know that Emerson lived from 1803 to 1882, and it says, "Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail." I think about that for a second. Honestly, if I had a choice, I would pick not to fail. Interesting man, Coach West said. She points to the quote. No one really knows if he's actually the one who said we should get up after we fail. I'm guessing he would have thought it was true. He believed an easy life doesn't teach much. I guess, I say. Sounds like my mom, Isabella says. Coach West chuckles at that. Then she says to Isabella, you look like you walked right off of Mia's canvas. Isabella grins really big. Then Coach West looks at me up and down. Huey Newton, Bobby Seale. I'm not surprised Coach West would know my costume is one of the Black Panther activists. Even though I don't know those names before Hannah told me, I nod happily. You should enter the contest, Coach West tells us. She nods toward a row of benches. The student council is having a costume contest, and if you want to be in it, all you have to do is join the people waiting for a turn to walk across the benches, student council lined up like a runway. Isabella giggles and I rub my itchy hands together. No thanks. Okay, well, have fun, Coach West says. Isabella and I find a spot on the pokey grass, and just as I'm rearranging my beret for a millionth time, I see Julia. Alrighty, so we learned that Black Panthers is the costume that Shay picks. The next chapter is 24. It's called Batgirl and Boots. Julia is dressed as Batgirl. And let me point out, there's no way anyone could come up with that costume at the last minute. But that is not the worst part. All her other friends dressed up as superheroes too. I can't even believe that Julia did a group thing with them and not with us. I can't believe she didn't tell us. I can't even. She comes over and plops down like it's no big deal. So Shay, what exactly are you supposed to be? I don't want to answer her. I don't want to talk to her. I pinch my wrist to keep from saying anything. Huey somebody, Isabella says. A protester from a long time ago, I think. Ooh, Julia says. She picks a wish flower from the grass and blows it. I want to tell her you're not supposed to do that. It's just spreading weeds around. Yeah, I get it, bro, she says, nodding. On the real. Then she stands back up. I look up at her and I shield the sun out of my eyes so I can see her better. I have a ton of questions sitting fat and slimy on my tongue that I want to spit out. Nice costume, Jules, Isabella says, and even though Isabella doesn't say it in a mean way, I think all three of us know there's a lot being said right there. Julia's cheeks get a little pink. Hey, you want to hang with us? She says. No, thanks, I say, barely opening my mouth to get the words out. Julia just stands there for a second like she isn't sure what to do, but then she says, okay then, late, and runs back to her other friends. This is another new Julia-ism. Instead of saying, I'll see you later, like a normal person, she shouts late at you, like she's too busy to bother with adding the er. She even does it in text messages. I can't tell if Isabella is really as mad as I am. I never really see her get upset over anything unless she's fighting with her little brother. She's just too nice to call Julia out. And the reason I didn't say anything to Julia is because if I said one word, a whole bunch of other ones would have come out. And Mama tells me all the time not to say anything you can't take back. I watch Julia and Stacy whisper together and then crack up laughing, and my belly pinches tight. She acted like she wasn't going to dress up, Isabella says. There's a question tucked in Isabella's voice. She starts sucking the end of one of her braids. I don't say anything. Isabella's eyes are big and sad, and that makes me even angrier. I guess she changed her mind, Isabella says. I don't say anything. Well, she looks great, Isabella says with a sigh. But she acted like dressing up was dumb, I complain. She must have decided it wasn't, Isabella shrugs, and we dressed up anyway. That's not the point, I say. Doesn't it make you mad? I wore what I wanted, didn't you? Besides, maybe it was a command, Isabella says. I start in, but the darkness blocks out the sun. Bernard. He has a patch over one eye, which seems less like a costume and more like he got into a bad fight recently. He must have had it in his backpack because he wasn't wearing it this morning in science. I can't believe an eye patch is his ticket to the lawn. And I can't believe when I'm feeling like punching someone, Bernard is over here bothering me. Obviously, I can't punch him. I look over at Julia and then away quick. I don't want her to think I'm worried about her at all. Hey, he says. His voice isn't just really loud, it's also really deep. Oh, hey, Bernard. I squeak out. I glance at Isabella, wondering if she's on the verge of freaking out, but she doesn't seem bothered. Hey, she says to Bernard. Bernard glares at me, but I don't think I've done anything wrong. Maybe he just wants to sit in his spot. The grass is scratchy, so I won't mind leaving if he wants to. I don't have Bernard figured out anymore. I know if he wants something, he would just take it, but at the same time, he doesn't act that mean to me. And I still can't help but feel afraid every time I see him. I want to sit here, he says, and he plops right down. Isabella and I exchange looks. This time her eyes are wide like mine. Great, we're in the space he wants. At least he didn't shove us out of the way or anything. I look around to see if Coach West is still around. She'll step in if something's about to go down. I know Bernard isn't doing anything wrong, but my brain can't help adding yet. Sorry, I say, and I get up. We're just waiting for the contest line to die down. I grab Isabella's hand. So come on, Iz, let's go. Fine, Bernard says, frowning at me. Once we're in line, Isabella asks, you really want to enter the contest? She sounds surprised because it's not the type of thing I would normally do. We have to now, I say. Bernard freaked me out. It's like he's after me. Drama queen. It doesn't seem like he's after you. And anyway, he doesn't seem so bad now. Isabella adjusts her flower. You haven't seen him when he's mad. As soon as I say it, I feel guilty because I haven't really seen Bernard acting all that mad recently. Snatching Legos when we were in second grade probably shouldn't count. But he did break that slide and knocked over his desk and whacked someone with a balloon. It's not my fault he's scary. We slowly move up in line and my stomach starts doing cartwheels. Isabella goes first and she walks down the runway of benches like it's no big deal. I take a couple of steps on the first bench. I had no idea it was going to be so wobbly. I take another step and I start to slip. I wave my arms to catch my balance. I look ridiculous. And the only thing I can do is to try and turn my wacky moves into a dance. And so I wave and slip and groove my way across the benches. I hear Coach West shout, "Go, Shayla! Go, Shayla!" Then Bernard says it too, with his deep booming voice. And then it seems like everybody is shouting at me. Gladly, I think. I've thought of Bernard as a bully for so long. It's hard to think of him any other way. Maybe Isabella is right and he's not so bad. But I still know better than to make him mad. If I had to dress up as a superhero, I would have been Adam Eve with those cute pink boots. That would have been really cool. So in this chapter, we find out that Batgirl and Bat Boots is about Julia kind of betraying the United Nations. That's like a question mark. That's how Shay feels. But I think Isabella is kind of okay with it. And it really looks like, their tradition of dressing up together is now over. And Julia has jumped in with her Asian friends and has started dressing up for Halloween with them like superheroes. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed chapters 18 through 24.